What is going on, guys? It is Lely206 here, and this is a quick video introducing two new things to PES 15. The first one being a new game mode called Role Control, the second thing being a new option in the formations area, which is something called Fluid Formations. So first of all, I'll start off with the new game mode called Role Control, and that's basically, it's a 3-on-3 mode where it doesn't have to be 3-on-3, you can do 3 versus 1, 3 versus 2 and so on. But basically it's where one of the users plays as all the defenders, another user plays as all the midfielders, and the last user plays as all the strikers. Now, it might not sound, amazingly fun straight away, but trust me, when you play it, it's a really fun game mode. There are one or two negatives which I'll talk about after, but the way they've actually implemented it, I think it's, I think they've implemented it really well. So if I'm a defender, or I'm controlling all the defenders, the one defender I'm controlling at that time, he'll have a triangle which is filled out blue, just for example. So say all my defenders have a blue triangle over their head. The one I'm controlling has a filled out blue triangle, and the other three will have just an outlined blue triangle. And the reason I find that really useful is the fact that if you're playing a game and there's no triangles over anyone else's heads apart from the other two users, none of their other players, when a midfielder drops into defense or helps out in their attack, as a player that's not actually allowed to control that player, I might think that that midfielder who's dropped into defense to help out, I might be able to think I can change into him and use him, but then suddenly I change to someone down the pitch and confuse myself. So it's good to have the triangles on all the time. It's not as distracting as you think it would be having so many triangles on screen. You kind of blank it out and it becomes almost second nature to you. Just you're always focused on your four anyway. Just make sure you're doing your job. And the good thing about this is it actually lets you know who's let you down, because at the end of the match it has stats for all your attributes for each one of your players as well. So it gives each player their own rating. And when you're playing 2 versus 2, which I'll talk about in a moment, actually no, I'll tell you one of the negatives, and that's the PlayStation 4 only allows up to 4 players. So on that you'll only be able to play 3 versus 1 or 2 versus 2. Now how 2 versus 2 works is one of you controls all the defenders plus a midfielder or two, and the other guy controls all the midfielders plus the other strikers. So it'd be like a 5-on-5 split on the pitch. So if you're playing a 3-5-2, I'm guessing the defender will control 3 of the defenders and 2 of the defensive mids or something, and the attacking guy will control all the attacking players. But yeah, the only negative is the fact that the PlayStation only lets you play up to 4 players. So when you're playing offline, and this is an offline only feature, so that was the other negative I was on about, that you're kind of stuck where you won't be able to have 2 lots of 3s. So that's why I want this game mode to go online. I think it'd be a really fun game mode if they did take it online. They said a very slight chance that it might get patched onto PES 15 so it can go online. They're looking for it into PES 16, so fingers crossed that happens in PES 16, that we get this game mode online, because trust me, when you play it, it is really fun. There's so much banter in it as well, and I think it'd be great for YouTubers as well. So that's one game mode I'm really looking forward to. And now I'll go into Fluid Formations, and if you've not read it on the left, well, have a quick read. And basically that's where you have 3 formations that you basically do effortlessly. So you set off for one for kickoff, you have one for when you lose the ball, and you have one for when you've got the ball in possession. So they're not just little tactics, you can actually change the formation. And when you're playing, you don't have to press anything. It's a setting that you can switch on and off in this screen here, but once you're in the match you can't switch it off. Well, you can if you pause the game, come back to this screen and then click switch off. But it has its positives, it has its negatives, depending how you set up. But if you nail this, I'm sure it'll be like 90% positive, 10% negative. And if you don't have fluid formation on, then I'm sure it'll just be 50-50 in terms of the benefits of not having fluid formation. So yeah, with the fluid formation you can change the tactics, the way your team is set up, pressure levels, all sorts, without even the click of a button. I think that is bloody awesome. And I've seen one guy use it next to me. I didn't really use it, but I've seen the guy next to me using it, and the way his team was suddenly just shaping up and the pressure levels and everything, it was, oh my god, it was just like, I just didn't have the time to tinker with it. I thought when I get the game, that's the first thing I'm gonna do, is sort out like a master fluid formation and then just chuck that in with every team I use. Oh, and talking of pressure levels, I remembered when I was playing, I noticed that if you're holding sprint throughout the game most of the time, your player's stamina gets depleted a lot quicker. So after about 60 minutes, 65 minutes, some of my players are literally no stamina left. So I think there's a new stamina system, because the later matches after that, what I started doing was I was a bit more cautious of holding sprint down all the time, and then some of my players were getting tired in the 80th to 85th minute. So I think if you're constantly holding sprint down, or you're making someone else constantly sprint and chase the ball around, I think that actually has an effect. But I obviously want to test that a bit more when I get a chance to play the demo. I kind of noticed it a bit later on during the day, so obviously that's something to keep an eye out for the demo, guys. So yeah guys, I hope you found this information useful or helpful or anything like that. And if you did like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, remember to subscribe. And thanks for watching.